Hey guys, what is cracking? What is crack-a-lackin'? Yeah, hope everybody's having a good weekend. Hey, Rock. Hey, Mary. Good to see you. John, Kim, thanks for being first in here. All my mods, love you. Hey, Becca, Stephanie. Okay, guys. Yeah. So please do the YouTube things. Like the stream. Please share it. That's the biggest thing you can do. That and subscribe. If you subscribe, please hit that notification bell because, I don't always stream at the same time every day. I'm trying to narrow that down, and thanks to your guys' help, I found out when you guys want me to be here, or most of you guys would like for me to be here, and I'm trying to make that happen. And that would be between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m. But anyway, with that being said, super chats are turned on. If anybody wants to support that way, it's appreciated, but never expected, baby. All right, guys. So, we got hit with a geomagnetic storm. Now, yesterday, well, the day before, because yesterday was, I took the day off, and, excuse me, the stream before that on Friday, I was talking about a possible geomagnetic storm hitting. Well, yesterday we didn't get one, right? So, and this is from a CME. I'll tell you what, let's go over here to seeds, and I'll see if I can't take you back to it. Because it hit, what's happened here, guys, is this CME hit late. I think it was this one. Okay, remember I was showing you guys the CME that was a glancing blow, and this is not it. That's not it. Let's just go back to the 28th up here. Now, what I'm going to show you here is from LASCO C2. It's on the SOHO Observatory, which is a satellite a million miles closer to the sun than what we are. And it is looking from our perspective. So, today's the 3rd, so let's go back to let's go back to 28th. And let's see when that eruption happened. There it went. Okay. I believe it was this one over here. I'm pretty sure it was. It could, I guess it could have been another one. We had so many of them. But it was one that was going off of the west limb of the sun. Okay. So let's look at the 29th. I can't really, that one could have been it also. But some of those were going off the backside. So, and it was a substantial CME, but it wasn't something that would be grid down or a big, huge issue or anything, because it was not coming directly at us. It did not produce a radiation storm, and usually if they're really big and they go this direction, they're getting fired off the west limb of the sun, and yes, it's backwards. So when you look at the sun, the direction is backwards. Okay? And that's a black, that black occulter disc right there is an actual disc on the camera. Okay? So, anyway, when it blows off this side, sometimes it'll cross our connection to the sun, our magnetic connection, and that connection will pick up protons, and it will drag it back towards the Earth and give us a radiation storm. And that typically happens with big eruptions, right? Especially big flares with big CMEs at the same time. That happens a lot. So, this did not give us a radiation storm. And it was, I can't remember, I think there was a small flare related to this one. It could have been like an M flare, but it wasn't an X flare. No X flares or anything like that. So, we're just going to leave it at that. So, no radiation storm, but I do believe that we are catching this glancing blow, but it's like a day late. Now, with that being said, typically we would expect it to be weaker than expected, right? Because it would be moving slower, like way slower. And this is the only thing that's got me questioning whether or not this is actually what hit us or not. It could have been a stealth CME, could have been that with combination of a coronal hole stream. I really don't know, but judging by the Discover data, and we'll take a look at that here, I don't think it was a coronal hole stream. And let me explain why. Let me zoom in here. Okay. Well, I tell you what we're going to do before we take a look at this one. I'm going to come back here and show you. Look, they measure it by the KP. That's a value they give just so they can measure this stuff. Okay. And it's just like a thunderstorm warning system. You know, the higher it is, the stronger the geomagnetic storm. We don't get into geomagnetic storming levels until we get a G1, which is a 5 on the KP. Okay? Now, this one got to a G2 from a glancing blow that arrived a day late. That doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to me. Well, what does make a whole heck of a lot of sense? Well, before I say that, let me show you this. This is the German website, and this is HP30. It's the same measurement, but they're giving it to us in 30-minute increments. Okay, so you can see where it got to G2. We got to a G1 way early. We've been in storm levels for over 6 hours, and that's substantial. Okay, a lot of times when we get a glancing blow, it's like, I mean, very short-lived. This is not that. I mean, we are out of storm level now, I believe. We'll have to wait and see here. But these are 3-hour plot points. Okay? So I've explained that before also, but also realize that not everybody's heard that before. So that's a 3-hour average. Okay? This is a 30-minute average, so we get more real time from this. Okay? I'm really not sure what. If we're going to go back up, we could. But let me show you why I think this has been going on. What happened here? Because I do think that it was that glancing blow that might have been moving slower, but it hit us more direct than what they thought. I think that's my opinion. I think that it was moving just a tad slower. Well, about 24 hours slower, really. But the direction, they got the direction wrong just a little bit. And it hit us more head on than what they were expecting. Okay? That's just my opinion. Now, does it matter? Does any of that matter for what I'm saying right here? Not really. What matters is, and that's why I nowcast instead of forecasting. What matters is we got hit with something. Okay? So, and, you know, we can't forget that. We can't let this stuff just be like, oh, who cares? It's just what it is. You know, no. We want to know where it comes from because we want to understand the next time something like this happens. Now, we do get hit with stealth CMEs from time to time, too. That's exactly what you think it is. It's a hidden CME. We couldn't see it. And largely when those happen, it's because of this. The sun's the background, and it happens right in the front, so the sun camouflages what we can see. Because if we go back over here to seeds, we can't see behind this occulter disk either. Right? So what do? Well, we used to go look at stereo A, and stereo A is no longer out to the side. It used to be out 90 degrees. We had a side view, and it gave us, combining this view and a view from 90 degrees from us, we could tell really good which direction these things were going. Now, it doesn't mean we can't figure it out now. What it means is that it makes it just a little bit more difficult. That's all. So, when we're looking at this and the sun's the background, we don't necessarily understand or see some of these CMEs. So, you know, we're going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go any deeper on that subject. But, so the G2 did hit. It's right here. Now, I'm showing you HP because it's more real time. It's the only reason why I'm showing it. So, why did we get to G2? Well, we got to G2 because this. Anybody that's been here on my channel at all probably is tired of hearing me talk about the BZ. This BZ is the single most factor, in my opinion, why we get hit when we get hit and why we don't when we don't. We get hit, but our magnetic field will deflect it, right? Well, it deflects it better sometimes than others, and this is why most of the time. The BZ is the magnetic polarity, the direction of our magnetic field, right? You can be in the positive or the negative. We look for -6. Guys, this thing got down to negative 17, 18. That's very, very far into the negative area there. Okay? So whenever this shows negative 6, it'll be purple. It goes to negative 20 on this chart here. Now, yesterday, this chart was only showing 0 to like 6. Because there was no need to show it any other way, because nothing was any bigger than that. But as you can tell, everything moved right here. Okay, so our density went up, and the density got pretty high. It got to like 40, 42, 43, something like that. Okay, that's the orange right there. And but here's the thing. Look, see the speed? The speed is on the low end of normal. So that actually, it supports what I'm trying to say here. It's moving slower, but it was more dense. So what's more dense typically mean? It typically means it was a more direct hit, more centered. Okay, instead of the glancing blow we thought we were going to get. So I do think that this is that glancing blow CME that was expected yesterday, but instead its direction was forecasted just a little bit wrong, and because of that, it swung around and it hit us more direct. And because we got hit more direct, the density was higher, and the BZ went negative. If this BZ had stayed right here at neutral or in the positive, we may not have had a geomagnetic storm at all. Okay? So, let me pull up another, I want to show you guys this. Okay, this is density right here. The lighter colors, the whites, are lower density. And you're going to see this stay looking like this. The darker colors are higher density. Now, this only shows you up to so far, right? So once it gets to this, it doesn't get any darker, so it can actually be more dense than that. And this model won't show it to you. But you can see how the density is, engulfing our planet right here. Now, everybody understands this. This is magnetic pressure. This is actually a fairly impressive model here this time around. Okay? Yeah. That's a lot of pressure around our planet. Okay, you can see how waves are coming in. Remember, the sun's off to the left, and what you're looking at is the magnetosphere. Basically, it's showing you how our magnetic field is blocking all the stuff coming from the sun. Okay, this is our bow shock. That's the first point of interaction between solar wind or stuff from space and our magnetic field. It's that initial point of contact. So when you see that move, and we'll get compression, and then we get rapid expansion. And so sometimes you'll see this thing shoot off the model over here. And other times you'll see this thing get pushed back and look like it's not even there. But it's always there. It's not going to go down. If it goes down, that means one of two things. That means our magnetic field is completely gone, which is a really bad day for us. Or the sun's not there, which is just as much of a bad day, if not worse. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, the magnetic field can go down for short periods of time and not have the catastrophic things that people talk about. But if that happens, something had to cause the magnetic field to go down, and we would be talking about a bunch of other things. In other words, yes, because I've talked about this before. When we do have a magnetic pole flip, right, the magnetic field does go down for a short period of time, but it comes back, right? So in other words, we would have had that pole flip if our magnetic field was gone. So what I'm saying is, guys, no, this isn't going to happen. It would be a really bad day if any of that stuff happened. None of us would be here talking about it. We couldn't. We wouldn't have any power. There'd be all kinds of other crazy junk going on. So that's why I say what I do there, okay? Now, let's go over here to, what was I wanting to show you? Oh, yeah, there was one more model I wanted to show you here. And we're going to take a look at this. We had a couple more eruptions on the sun also. So let me go to the geoelectric field model. Okay, this is a geoelectric field. Okay, not geomagnetic, which is what I was showing you earlier. The geoelectric field is the electrical field at the surface. Okay, so this reacts when we get hit with geomagnetic activity. Yesterday, we took a hit on this thing. It was very, very short-lived, but it was very intense. I've got it recorded on my screen recorder. I just haven't had a chance to bring it over here to show you guys. But it was intense. Okay, it was like, if you go down here and look at this graph, it was showing blacks, it was showing whites. I mean, it was very intense for a short period of time. I thought that might have been the glancing blow hitting, and it didn't give us a geomagnetic storm. It just kind of shook us a little bit, right? But that ain't what happened. So I don't know what caused that yesterday. I really don't. I'll show that to you guys tomorrow on my stream. I just didn't have a chance to get it downloaded here. So, well, I'm going to show you the Australian magnetopause model, okay? And reason why, this is the same thing as this, just a lot more simpler. That's our bow shock. You can see it bouncing around. So when we get compressed, and this goes into, Andy B had that question the other day. Can this thing, what happens when this thing gets inside the satellite line and it's exposing the satellite? Well, and I explained what could happen during those kinds of things, and it looks like it got really close to doing it this time. So let me see if I can't catch this thing. And I may not be able to catch it here, but I'm going to see how far in it'll come. You see how it starts to bend? And that's our bow shock. That's what that's representing. Anyway, I'm going to run this model again. How about that? Let's go back over here. Flip this thing, and I'll pause it. But that's the satellite line right there. I'm going to show you how close it gets. Yeah, it's the only thing this doesn't have a slide bar you can grab. You got to take it one frame at a time. And this gives us 1 minute data plots. See that? See how close that is? Now, there could have been times where it actually bounced in a little closer. It could have actually exposed our satellites completely. So, and the satellites were on this side of the planet when this happened. So I don't know if it had any effects on that. I haven't heard any reports or anything like that. But that's, that's what I'll say there. Now, again, I love this model. It gives, look at this. You see this? Wow. It wasn't showing that over here on Discover. Look at that. That says 120 on density. Wow, that's a dense hit there, guys. And I mean extremely dense. I didn't see that till just now. That right there itself explains why we've gotten into storm level. That was at what time? 5, it said? Okay, that might be a false reading, guys. I'm not sure. I don't think it was, but it could have been. Because you look back here, you see at that time, right around that time that was, we had like some sort of disruption here. Let me check something else here too. Okay, see, this is what's happened there. Remember I was telling you guys about the data dropouts? We had a data dropout about that time. And oftentimes when that stuff comes back online, it'll have a couple false readings there. I don't necessarily think we've got to that high of density. Regardless, that's what it's showing, but I don't think we really did get that high. We could have. We've been there before, so just so you know. So we'll just let this thing play here a little bit. All right. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take you back over here to ISWA. All right. So we've had a couple more eruptions too. Now, this is SDO. It's the one that sits out in front of the in geosynchronistic orbit. Okay, it stays over the same part of our planet at all times. So, and it's always looking at the sun. I tell you what, I don't know why I forget this every time. I know I say this about every stream too, but I forget this every time. So this is where that satellite's at. Okay. Here's where it orbits. Does this figure 8 pattern, and it rotates so it can keep its eye on the sun. That's what it does. Okay? So that's where it rotates with us around our axis at 15 degrees an hour. Yes, that's a bunch of word salad. All it means is it's rotating around Earth's axis at the same speed we are, so it stays over the same part of the planet. That's what that means. Okay? So you can see this thing still bouncing around. Now, again, we get compression, and then we win that battle. It's like your uncle holding your head while you're trying to get to him when you were a kid, wrestling with him. And then he's got his hand right on your forehead, and you're still trying to go at him. Then he steps to the side. What happens? You fall to the ground like an idiot, right? That's what happens here. The uncle is the sun pushing on your forehead here. And eventually, our push back against that solar wind will win that battle for a minute. So Uncle steps to the side, and we fall to the ground, which means our bow shock shoots out a little further. That's how that works. At a basic, very basic way. So, this is where SDO is. Okay, I just showed you guys where that satellite was at. I'm going to pause it here. And we'll take a look at these eruptions over here. Because the reason I'm going to show you these is because these areas of the sun are rotating in. Okay, so let me back this up a little bit more. We'll take it back to the beginning here. You've seen that one there, but I want to take you guys back to the one that happened before that, right there. So let me zoom in. And these are substantial eruptions, okay? I know sometimes people look at them, they're like, man, that's kind of doesn't really look all that impressive. Let me assure you, some of these are way more impressive than what they show, okay? Let me do that. So we had an eruption over here early on, and none of these are hitting the Earth, okay, just so you understand. See that? It's a really, beautiful eruption in my opinion. And you also get to see plasma rain, solar rain. And all that is plasma going back to the surface of the sun on a magnetic connection line. That's all that is. It looks like rain sometimes. So that's why we call it that. So let me go forward here. Oh, daggone it. Okay, here we go. Look at that one, guys. That's cool, isn't it? See the area it covers? Look at all this. That's plasma, guys. That's a lot of plasma. You even got this one over here that hasn't broke yet. That's a magnetic filament, or one of those, one of the connection lines that's in a loop. It hasn't broke, so it's not erupting. See how it's going back to if you look, you can see the plasma rushing back. That's what we call solar rain. Now, this other one here is doing the same thing, but this is a CME because it erupts out. Okay? Now, if this happens 2 days from now, when it's sitting over here, that would mean that stuff would be coming at us. So that's why I'm showing it to you. I'll back it up there one more time. Wham. Hey, Hilly. Hey, V. What's up, guys? Butterfly, what's happening? Brian, what's going on? Piper Lynn's in the house. Miss Dragon's in the hizzy. Tiger. Butterscotch. best butterfly again. Max. Brian. Alright, so let me show you guys this one. This is the 171. It's the same satellite, just a different part of the light spectrum. Okay? Let me, and the reason I have to do it like this, guys, so I can give you a zoomed in look. If I don't do it like this, you get the zoomed out look, and I know it takes me a minute, but I think it's better to get that than, and take me a couple more seconds than it is to not give you the best look I can. So, again, guys, this is just a part of the light spectrum, 171. Our eyes cannot see this without help. Has to have a filter. Okay, that's why we look at these things. I really haven't looked at this. So you can see how these other eruptions are happening. Okay? And, you know, it's not like massive eruptions. That's a big eruption back that I just showed you. But it's not like, yeah, it wouldn't be something I would be, like, immediately concerned with. So, that's what I'll say. Now, something else I want to show you. We did get, this is the 211. We do have some small other coronal holes that we got a possibility of hooking to magnetically. And what that means is the atmosphere has peeled back a little bit on the sun, which is the corona, and it exposes the surface. So when that surface is exposed, plasma flows out. That's what's going on. So, just want to bring that up to you. And so if we connect to these, then we definitely could take some more hits in the next couple days. It'll take 2 to 3 days for that solar wind to get here from these coronal holes. But if we connect to it and we're getting hit with other things at the same time, it can intensify things. And these coronal holes can cause their own geomagnetic storm. Okay? So one more thing I'm going to show you guys here. Don't take off on me here real quick. This is okay, see what I haven't read this yet. This is Dr. Tony Phillips over at spaceweather.com. Today's miner G1. Okay, he's agreeing with me. He's saying that if you read this, we got into a G1 storm early, but it was from the late impact of that one we were expecting, right? So this is kind of an unexpectedly strong, and the other unexpected part of this was the timing. But check out those Aurora, guys. Wonder who took those pictures. Jan Eklund. Okay. Always give credit, guys. You got to do that. It's the only responsible thing to do. They do the work. So you got to give them credit. I mean, it's awesome. Some of these guys, this is what they do. They get Aurora photography. That's their job. So I don't like to stay on this picture. I want you guys to go over here and check it out. I mean, I could, because I guess technically it's fair use. As long as I'm, giving commentary over top of it, you can do that. But these guys need the credit, okay? So please go, all you got to do is click on this picture, and it'll probably show you more that Jan has taken. But Dr. Tony Phillips does a great job over here at spaceweather.com. So please come give him some love, and show the people that he's showing, show them some love too. By just clicking on what you're seeing. It helps, I promise. But yeah, so we can expect, some pretty intense Aurora photography coming out of this. Now, we are waning off. I want to say that right now. We are on the butt end of this, it looks like. Looks like it's going to start trending back down. Now, it doesn't mean we can't go back up into more. And a real good way to see if we're trending up, again, is to come over here and look at this Aurora model. If this Aurora model starts forecasting something that's going more Aurora, that means typically we're getting hit with more space weather. That's what causes these Aurora. All right? It excites the molecules, and when the molecules are going back to their stable state, it produces the colors that we see. And each molecule will produce a different color. So when we get hit with these things, that's why they show up on the poles. Because most of the stuff comes in on the poles. That's why. If that wasn't the case, you would see them everywhere. And if you ever do, and we are seeing them further south than what we would typically, like we would used to see it, because I think our magnetic field's weakening, and we'll start seeing these a little bit further and further south. Now, if you ever see some of these things on the equator, you might want to go check some things out, because there are times where sometimes, they call this the Aurora oval, that people that live up here will actually have to go outside and look south. Okay, that means we're getting a pretty strong geomagnetic storm if that ever happens to these guys. Okay, and it has happened in the past, so I'll just say that. Now again, guys, let me take you here. I want to show you the sunspots. So this one is rotating off. That was not that big gigantic one either. This is the one that was part of that line of 4 that we seen. But you see this big area, it's kind of like a coronal prominence with sunspots in there, right? This is rotating in. If we start seeing these little small cores intermingling with each other, it's going to become destabilized and it's going to start erupting, okay? So that's why I'm talking about this. This could rotate in, so we got to keep our eye on this is what I'm saying. That's really all I am saying there. But, okay. So if I grab this one, what do we see on this one? This is the 94 angstrom. Okay, now check this out right here. See how that sunspot that rotated off is still active? It's blowing CMEs back there. That's the one that, gave us that big one a little while back when it was sitting over here. So, again, those things can survive around the sun a couple times. Most of the time, they don't typically last that long, but in solar maximum, we do see them quite often make a couple laps around the sun before they go away. So, that's what I'll say on that end of it. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me tonight, guys. If I see anything else happen, I'm going to go spend some time with my family. You guys go do the same. Nothing more important than that, I promise you. Thanks for coming and supporting. If you want to support with the super chat thing, you still can. You can cut out. There's something else too. Most people don't even know that's there. A super thanks. You guys know you can come after the video's made. You can come into the comment section, leave a comment, and actually do a super chat that way. And they call it a super thanks. I didn't even know that was a thing until like 6 months to a year ago. I think it was something fairly new. But Aaron has left me a couple of those, and a couple of other of you guys have too. And I'm compiling a list. I'm going to shout you guys out here in the next week or so. So that's what's happening, guys. So if anything else happens, I'll be here. Thanks for supporting me, guys. And I will see you guys probably tomorrow. If something else big happens, I'll stop in and give you guys an update. God bless. Yahusha saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.